Okay, so yeah, we're recording this video to say a little bit more about our experience of this transition that Huddlecraft's going through. Yeah, we're in the middle of moving towards co-leadership, towards co-ownership of Huddlecraft, and we're having this conversation as Zara, the Huddlecraft founder and CEO, is going to step back in 6 weeks' time. So we thought, yeah, it'd be nice to just share a little bit more information from our perspectives about what this transition has been like, and a little bit about our hopes for the future as well. Cool. So let's go. Anna, who is Huddlecraft and what is Huddlecraft to you to start things off?
Yeah. My name's Anna. I have been involved with Huddlecraft since 2019 when I trained to be a host. And I took Huddlecraft back to Bristol, which is where I live, and ran my peer group across the course of 2019. And yeah, it was literally a transformative experience for me. I was pregnant when I started hosting, and then by the time the showcase came along, the final event, I was fit to give birth. So it was an incredible experience, and I kind of explored a lot around my personal and professional life. And I think that that really stayed with me as I entered into new motherhood. Um, and I stayed involved in Huddlecraft because of that. I think because it had been such a transformative moment for me, it really made an impact. And so I became a host mentor on the first ever host fellowship, which is a program for people who want to run their own huddles in their own locations or around a given theme. So I was mentoring 3 hosts, and that was, again, a really wonderful experience. Got to get an insight into all of these different journeys and different groups. And since then, I've been an associate delivering workshops, trainings, been consulting on a few projects as well within Huddlecraft over the years. And one of the kind of favorite memories of mine in that space was supporting with Huddle Camp 2021 and being on the organizing crew for that and holding some rituals and just generally getting stuck in with the community. So yeah, that's my experience with Huddlecraft. And I suppose what Huddlecraft is to me is an organization that is for everyone. And I think I love that about the methodology and the approach that we use. It is about everybody being on a equal ground, as it were, in terms of how much you can learn, how much you can bring. And I just love the kind of democratic uh, equality of that sense of learning. And I think that's just what we need in our future, and we need it now. So yeah. And what about you, Dan? Who are you to Huddlecraft? What is Huddlecraft to you?
Nice, thank you. Yeah, I've been involved with Huddlecraft since the first group back in 2016. So I remember speaking to Zara about this idea that she had for structured peer learning in a pub in London. Yeah, yeah, 7 years ago. And I remember thinking at the time that it was just a cool design-led way to be thinking about continued learning after school, after whatever education you've had. Um, yeah, and just thinking about it in a more distributed, multi-directional way. So yeah, I joined that first group, and that first experience of peer learning was just, yeah, really cool. Like all of us pooling our different learnings, resources, networks. I remember finding it a bit intimidating to start with. Yeah, it was a great group with loads of different people from different backgrounds. And I remember it being quite like quite designy focused, probably because of Sarah and Jakob. Uh, but yeah, that group really supported me through huge change in my life at the time, professional change. And yeah, the people just inspired me, to be honest.
Mm.
I really appreciated the potential of the model from that experience. And since then, so I've done 2 more huddles after that point, one of which I hosted through the fellowship, the host fellowship. And so to me, Huddlecraft has been, yeah, an ongoing community of learning, of inspiration, but also of support and relationships that have really shaped who I am. And yeah, to Huddlecraft, I guess I'm one of the people that have just stuck around for a while and have been gravitating around this model of learning and getting more involved over time. Yeah.
Mm. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, and intrigued to know what this transition journey has been like for you so far. So kind of thinking about working with Zara, the founder of Huddlecraft, and also our transition, you and I, into co-directorship and co-ownership. Yeah, tell me more about that, Dan.
Mm. Yeah, it's been real. I felt like it's been really rich learning um, as part of a really great team. Like for me, there's been this sense of just being able to go into difficult things or tensions in the process with honesty, openness, and just a lot of like trust in the team, which has felt really good actually. Um, I've also felt like the tempo has been a bit uneven. Like there have been moments of being a bit stuck and not feeling like there's been much movement, and then moments of like really rapid movement and change where it's felt like tectonic plates have been shifting. Um, yeah, I think it's a strange thing succeeding a founder of an organization like Huddlecraft, where it's been such a passion project since the beginning, but also really co-created since the beginning with the community, with all the people that have participated. So it's strange sort of trying to take on responsibility for something like that. It feels weird. Um, yeah, and I felt in this transition process, it's been the in-person times which have, yeah, really supported that rich learning. And yeah, from my perspective, where those things have really shifted. So our away days in Somerset, the first transition circle meeting in Birmingham with that group of people that have been supporting us through this, who've just asked great questions and sort of shown a mirror up to us about what we really need to be thinking about and how to think about it. And then that time in Froome as the three of us at the end of last year has that felt, yeah, like the transition was really happening for the first time, where it's like, okay, I feel myself stepping in, and I also felt Zara stepping back as well.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's been a mix of kind of building excitement about the potential of what this could look like, what this next chapter might be, that shift in responsibility, which has felt a bit difficult and also, uh, yeah, a bit wavy, but also, yeah, that rich kind of learning in relationship with you and Zara has felt really, really good. Yeah.
Mm.
How about you? What's this journey been like for you so far?
Yeah, so much to echo in what you said, to be honest. Like it's been such a wavy journey. And that sense of traveling a path together, the three of us, but there needing to be a journey that you and I are going on and a journey that the three of us are going on, and how those two meet and support one another and can rub up on each other. So it's been a really strange time. It's been really emergent, and yeah, I think personally I've just grown so much. I think I've had a deeper connection with work colleagues than I've ever had before, which feels amazing. And I don't know, there's something about that that just feels really aligned for me. I feel like I'm in the right place in the right time at the right time. So yeah, really feeling kind of comforted by that sense. Um, and yeah, there's been some pretty epic milestones. I mean, you've mentioned a couple of them. And yeah, kind of echoing again those for me. And it's felt like they've all occurred within this kind of really short space of time. So it's been quite a ride. Um, but I suppose like that's the joy of it as well. It's like we're really living. And I think I've always been drawn to that experience of work and life as well. Like, you know, putting yourself into spaces and into experiences that really make you feel like you're living. And so, yeah, the kind of the one of the most important moments for me. And I suppose for me, the first was that in-person collaborative transition circle meeting that we had in Birmingham. Big up Ruben, Vanessa, Bailey, Sarah McAdam, for really showing me personally like the power of community supporting, stewarding, guiding organizations in a way that just feels so caring, and like you said, asking those kind of open questions, really challenging us, but being friends to us. So yeah, that felt like it was like the kind of initial moment where I really got into this idea of being one of the leaders, the directors of this organization, because I think before that I hadn't really come to terms with it fully. And then following that, the session that you and I had with Vanessa, where she helped us really kind of unearth and process some of our fears and uncertainties, because it's such a personal experience transitioning into this position in Zara's, in the wake of Zara stepping back from the organization. And like you say, to be doing that with a founder and with someone that we both respect and care for really deeply. So there's so much that kind of lies underneath. And I just love the fact that we were able to bring and surface some of those fears and uncertainties with Vanessa. So again, just thanks to Vanessa for holding space for us to do that. And then that kind of created that incredible fertile soil for those teen days in Frome at Zara's new home, and the tension chats in the pub. And I remember there was a moment on that evening where I was just like, whoa, I've never been in a team like this where we can be so open and vulnerable and real with each other and talking about kind of old material from previous jobs, relationships, childhood, and how that's showing up here. And for me, that's just the absolute quality of, again, just like work and life, is having that like realness and openness. And I think there's a space here just like show mad gratitude for Zara for creating an organization where that's not only accepted, but it's welcomed, it's invited. And I think that also spans across all of Huddlecraft's communities, and whoever we touch, is that sense of kind of care and connection. So I love that we're like, we're practicing what we preach here now, and that feels really powerful. So yeah, amazing journey so far, like keen to see what happens next. And with that in mind, I'm curious, Dan, as we approach the moment where Zara's stepping back, how are you feeling about it? Because we're 6 weeks away now.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. And thanks for like naming the people in the transition circle and naming the sort of respect for Zara in this process as well. Like really yeah, adding to that as well. But yeah, feeling mixed, I think. There's still this sense of like not knowing what we don't know. So there will be, I think, an inevitable jump, an inevitable leap when Zara sort of steps back that will feel a little bit uncertain and like, oh, cool, we're landing. And I think that's really needed, actually. I don't think we will be able to know what it feels like until it happens. Um, so yeah, with some of that uncertainty and some of that, I think there's like nervous excitement there as well. Yeah, and just like feeling like, yeah, I'm like we are going to really miss Sarah as well. Like she's been such an amazing person to work with, and such a sort of creative force within Huddlecraft that yeah, it's going to be a real shift. And just seeing that ahead of time, whilst having this real excitement for the next chapter as well. Both of those things are really coexisting at the moment for me. And yeah, just seeing so much potential for Huddlecraft everywhere is the thing that's kind of, yeah, there's still so much vitality in it for me, where it's like, cool, this thing still has such a place in the world, seeing the potential for it and where we can still change and evolve and add value in different ways with Zara stepping back feels really exciting to me. And that somebody else can like step in now as well. Um, yeah, so lots of excitement for this. Uh, this new potential that also arises with Zara stepping back, of like, who else is going to come into this orbit, to this field, and start building this with us, start working with us in a different way. I'm really excited about what that will look like, how that will feel different, and also what will be different in Huddlecraft as a result. Yeah. How about you? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I think I'm feeling more and more ready by the day. I think. And I also feel like there is you know, a great, like there's a degree of knowledge that I'm yet to acquire before I like consider myself really ready. But I'm also aware that that is something that could just be like, you know, that day may never feel like it's come, because I think we're always in that sense of, you know, continuous learning and growth. And yeah, there's a real sense of standing on the shoulders of giants with this organization and this transition. You know, the work, the creative force, as you said, of Zara and what she's put into this organization, literal blood, sweat, and tears, as well as the incredible core team crew that have worked with Huddlecraft over the years. You know, we've been involved for sure, but there's been such hard work that's taken place. And so there's something about just really honoring that, and really understanding that we are part of a journey of Huddlecrafts. And yeah, so I'm trying to be as kind of as zen as Zara mentioned this morning about how she is feeling, just wanting to be, you know, really zen and present. So I think that's how I'm feeling as we kind of near Zara's last day as a core team member. And yeah, I think there's also something about like the rich learning that's happened as a result of this, and just feeling really grateful actually at the moment, of like how I've learned so much from Zara, from you, in myself, about how to do change well, how to manage change well, how to capture and harness as much of the knowledge and experience and learning as possible as a result of these seismic shifts within an organization, within a group, within a community. You know, in order to then support others with the same challenges. So, you know, again, practicing what we preach, it just feels like at every point that there is this kind of opportunity for learning and growth. So yeah, feeling kind of like grateful to Zara for having kind of designed it that way, and for you for having largely held that process as we've run through it, because it has felt really held and cared for, and it's also simultaneously felt really spacious and emergent.
Yeah, and it sort of felt totally co-created in that sense, where it's like, I don't feel like, yeah, I've been sort of in the role of holding in a loose way, but there's just been, yeah, the way in which we've held it for each other, I think, has been so important. Yeah.
Agreed.
So I'm curious about the future then, Anna. Like, what about yeah, what would you love for the future of Huddlecraft?
Well, we are, as many people might know, recruiting for a creative lead at the moment. So as Zara steps back, we are recruiting another member of the team, which feels really exciting. And I think one of the things I would love is to see our team grow more in the coming years to 5 or 6 people. You know, just really seeing the capacity and the resource of Huddlecraft, yeah, develop. And we have so many interesting and innovative partnerships and projects and collaborations that we're currently working on. And I would love to see more of those, an abundance of those in the coming years. I think we, as an organization, as a practice, as a methodology, there's so much that we have to offer to so many different types of communities and people's projects, programs. And I think that it's about us kind of widening access to Huddlecrafts library of offerings, you know, the trainings, the resources, the tools, and like the vast amount of learning that we've captured and harvested and disseminated over the past 7 years, to have that in a more kind of open source format so that we can really see how we can support and amplify movements for change and really deepen impact in the world. And that also speaks to our 7-year book, little plug there, which people can pre-order a copy of. Maybe we'll put a little link in, link down below. Oh God, I'm one of those people. And yeah, it's about, I guess, like, yeah, bringing the community in as well. That's what I'd love to see. So kind of increasing involvement from the people that we have trained, that we've huddled with, that we've worked with before, and just kind of, yeah, bringing the folks into the fold as much as possible. And with that in mind, we have our sharing sessions coming up in March, which are really great opportunities for that to happen. So for Huddlecraft friends and supporters to come and engage with us in this next step of the journey. So yeah, we'll put some details of that as well in the mix. Yeah, and what about you, Dan? What would you love to see in Huddlecraft's future?
Yeah, I mean, just listening to you then made me reflect on how much has sort of happened in Huddlecraft's journey that's created this uh, soil that we're now working with. And it just seems like there's so much valuable stuff, there's so many valuable nutrients in that soil that we're playing with, like all of the stuff that was developed through Huddlecraft 101, which was really community co-created as well. Um, yeah, all of the hosts through the host fellowships, like all of these amazing people that are part of the ecosystem, all of the people that have participated in huddles and formed the wider community. It's like there's so much yeah, potential, I think, both in terms of what we've learned about the model and how we're doing this stuff, but also the relationships and the people and the content that we can bring to make use of almost. So yeah, it feels a lot like there's a lot of potential, and I'm really, really excited about how tight-knit communities of learning can be brought to bear on some of the really knotty challenges of our times. So yeah, for example, one of the hosts in the host fellowship at the moment, Rebecca, just hosted a huddle around the theme of burnout, which is like such, I mean, I'm hearing that everywhere at the moment. It's like such a timely thing to be exploring, like how to recover from burnout in community and developing a model of learning to support that. And then looking at some of our other work, like the neighborhood donor economics groups that we developed with Civic Square, for example, and Deal. Like I love the idea of those communities, like people who are looking at burnout, people that are like trying to bring a different economic system into reality in their local places. It's like I like the idea of those things being connected, and that we're building the capacity in the areas and in the communities that we're working with to sort of bring these things into the world, and that there's some connections, there's some nutrients being swapped and exchanged under the surface of all of these exciting needed things, but that there's still that like depth of relationship and support that's felt in the sort of tight knittedness of it as well. Yeah, so all of these, like I feel like there's so many emerging needs at the moment, aren't there? And that yeah, if we can connect and share between these ways of approaching these many challenges that we're facing, that's part of my dream, that these tight clusters and these bridges between them start to form in really beautiful ways. Yeah, that's me.
Amazing. Oh, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, Daniel Ford. And I think that probably brings us to the end of this wee chat, doesn't it? Yeah, really welcoming people who've watched the conversation between Dan and I to have yeah, to get in touch with us, to let us know what you think. We're really welcoming kind of feedback on this process, and yeah, the whole shebang, really. We'd love to hear from you. And yeah, if you'd like to come along to the sharing sessions, we'll share information about those as well. Nice one.
Thank you.
See you later.